Our border is a disaster. Crime infests our cities. The federal government makes it harder for families to make ends meet, and the president flounders. But decline is a choice. Success is attainable, and freedom is worth fighting for. Righting the ship requires restoring sanity to our society, normalcy to our communities, and integrity to our institutions. Truth must be our foundation, and common sense can no longer be an uncommon virtue. In Florida, we proved that it can be done. We chose facts over fear, education over indoctrination, law and order over rioting and disorder. We held the line when freedom hung in the balance. We showed that we can and must revitalize America. We need the courage to lead and the strength to win. I'm Ron DeSantis, and I'm running for president to lead our great American comeback. Well, I am running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback. Look, we know our country's going in the wrong direction. We see it with our eyes, and we feel it in our bones. Our southern borders collapse. Drugs are pouring into the country. Our cities are being hollowed out by spiking crime. The federal government's making it harder for the average family to make ends meet and to attain and maintain a middle-class lifestyle. And our president, well, he lacks vigor, flounders in the face of our nation's challenges, and he takes his cues from the woke mob. I don't think it has to be this way. American decline is not inevitable. It is a choice, and we should choose a new direction, a path that will lead to American revitalization. There is no substitute for victory. We must end the culture of losing that has infected the Republican Party in recent years. The tired dogmas of the past are inadequate for a vibrant future. We must look forward, not backwards. We need the courage to lead, and we must have the strength to win. But we also understand governing is not entertainment. It's not about building a brand or virtue signaling. It is about delivering results. And our results in Florida have been second to none. Biden's allowed woke ideology to drive his agenda. We will never surrender to the woke mob, and we will leave woke ideology in the dustbin of history. So I think this whole ESG movement is really trying to do through the financial sector what they could never achieve through the ballot box. And so they're trying to do an end run around the constitutional system, and they're really trying to change policy. They're trying to change society, and they're trying to change the scope of people's rights.
All of us against DeSantis! Take him down, take him down, take him down! DeSantis cannot govern!
Where he knows that he may win. He came here to fool you. Come here, South Florida. Don't listen to DeSantis. He is a liar.
Not my president! 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 Not my president!
Absolutely not. Not my Florida.
What do we want?
Justice.
And when do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it?
Shut it down.
If we don't get it?
Shut it down.
If we don't get it?
Shut it down.
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy is.
Fight back! Fight back! Florida! Florida! Florida!
We need to know. You got the very friendly. Escucha, estamos en la lucha. Escucha, estamos en la lucha. Escucha, estamos en la lucha. ¿Cuándo? Ahora. ¿Qué queremos?
Thank you so much. You startled me. Have a great day, okay?
Well, I'm not surprised. We knew he was going to do that, but I would say he is the worst thing that's happened to Florida, and I would hate to see him do that to the rest of the country. Well, I feel like we're now living in a place where there's a lot of retribution. So if you don't agree with him, if you want to go out and speak out against decisions that are being made countrywide or even locally, that you really have to watch out. There's a lot of retribution. There are laws being passed that you're not allowed to meet. I would say that Florida is where freedom comes to die.
My thoughts are I'm for anybody who wants to work with America first. You know, he's against the Ukraine money, and so am I. I mean, we got homeless here, that we got veterans here that need help. So I am for anybody that wants to put the money into America. So I follow Christian ethics. So you got to follow where your heart is, and if you look at it, if you look at everything in the picture, it's a no-brainer.
There is no choice between Trump and DeSantis. They're both equally horrible picks for president. And like, this isn't to say I'm a huge Biden fan. I respect what he's done, but I was never a big Biden voter to begin with. But I understood why he needed to enter the race when he did, and that was to pull votes away from Trump.
It's one thing to compete by yourself in the state of Florida. It's quite another to go head-to-head with Trump and to take on him with all of his insults and all of his pettiness, and frankly with the might of the Trump supporters that are never going to abandon him going forward and everything. Yeah. But do you think that there are more people that are suddenly going to vote Republican now because DeSantis is on there?
Oh, God, no.
No, I think
God,
it really comes down to you're basically Trump and DeSantis are competing for the same voters, and it's a question of which one are they going to choose? So I don't think either one of these is going to take middle America and move them to the middle. On the other hand, I think people, Biden has a very solid platform which he used to win the last time, which is essentially, I am not these guys.
Yeah,
and
I
so
am. Yep.
I'm the party of I'm the choice of anti-crazy.
He's one of the people that's trying to send us back to 1952, the McCarthy era, where anyone with facial hair is a communist, and just he keeps trying to separate everyone into different herds and keep them penned up. It's just, he's against people living the way they want to live. I think it's like being at the circus and the clown car, and all these guys are the clowns that come out of the car, and they keep coming and coming and coming. It's not looking to the future, it's looking to the past. It's exactly the opposite of what was happening in the country 10 years ago, where we were actually starting to move forward. And now we're regressing at a very fast rate.
This is a man who has, in a very short time, introduced and passed multiple acts of legislation that serve to erase or harm some of the most vulnerable members of the LGBTQ community, but really all of them. And I might add that a lot of that legislation also serves to harm and erase the most vulnerable across the board. This is a city that recently inaugurated our drag laureate. We also are the birthplace of drag story hour, and the very art of drag has been a focal point for hatred from Governor DeSantis. So I find it concerning that someone who's supposed to, actively sought out to acquire this company, has been, in the Bay Area for such a long time, would align himself with a campaign like this.
My pledge to you is this. If you nominate me, you can set your clock to January 20th, 2025. No excuses. I will get the job done. Now, these past few years have given me a new appreciation for the fragility of our freedoms. I never thought I would see things in America that we saw. Thank you, God bless, and I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you for putting up with these technical issues. I think we're definitely breaking new ground here this way, certainly in a Twitter space. So thank you for doing that.
I just, excuse my French, but I just thought it was like bullshit. None of what he was saying, I think, was actually true. And it was very painful to listen to someone speak that was launching himself to be president, for a presidential bid. And him to just say many remarks that were just not founded on truth, while claiming that he was leading his campaign founded on facts and truth, when in reality, it's nothing of the sort.
Just a massive number of people online, so it's serves as restraining somewhat.
This is really embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing for Ron DeSantis, for Elon Musk.
Governor DeSantis, make this.
It says Twitter Spaces crashing faster than Ron DeSantis presidential campaign.
After experiencing what happened on Twitter, I don't have much faith in his campaign, just because I think it's very telling that if no one's ever done this on Twitter and Twitter Spaces before, and knowing how Twitter's been having a lot of failure problems because of all the staff that they lost, like, to have his team and himself believe that this was going to be a successful launch for his campaign, and it completely failing, is so telling on how the rest of his campaign is going to go.
And originally was 700?
Yeah.
So it kicked off like more than half its users.
Merit must trump identity politics. With matters not central to the mission, whether it's global warming or gender ideology and pronouns, morale declines and recruiting suffers. We must reinvigorate our constitutional system by returning the government to its rightful owners, we the people.
What concerns me the most is how he handled the pandemic. He let bars open up early. He let students back into classrooms. He spread wrong information to the people of Florida. So if he did that for his own constituents in Florida, I can't even imagine what he's going to do for the nation if he should become elected president. And that concerns me. That worries me, because that's just, he's putting people in harm's way with the power that he has. And so that it's scary, because Florida is not the only state that would back someone up like him, and I could see other states falling for the same policies that he's been putting in place.
From what I understand, it was incredibly boring and rigid and scripted, but more I'm confused by his decision to run. I know that several people in Florida want him to run, and maybe even elsewhere, but my feeling is Ron DeSantis ran for governor, to be reelected governor, and was voted in. And I think that that's a commitment that he should fulfill his term as governor before looking towards another office, unless he got seriously ill or needed to leave for some other reason. But running for the presidency just doesn't seem like a valid reason to lead the governorship right now when he just got elected in. I was actually born in Boston, but I grew up in Los Altos. I think that DeSantis comes off as extremely far right, which I think puts off a lot of voters, and even people who might have previously supported him. I don't think that he's a bad guy. I think he's really done amazing things for Florida and helped their economy. But I think policy-wise, the only thing that I'm really familiar with is his fierce advocacy for children and parents in terms of schools and what is being shown to kids in schools and what they're being taught, and his willingness to go toe-to-toe with Disney, which for me feels like it's about time.